Welcome back to Talk Dogs. We have a very special guest with us today on Talk Dogs Podcast. He is an avatar creator on VR Chat, and he has created models for the cyberware.com shop. He also works assets with Furry. So let's please give a warm welcome to Kreic. And yay! Hey!
Hi!
But anyway, it's good to have you on the show. It's a big honor.
Oh, thanks for having me here. It's a big honor to be part of this project and for having considered me to be in your show.
Well, we are glad to have you aboard for this episode. We are looking forward to talk to you about questions. But before we get to those questions, Stream has a special announcement to make.
Hey guys, I'm Stream Architect. So we would like to thank you guys. We have officially hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we're very close to hitting 6,000 followers on our TikTok channel. Thank you so much for your support and your subscription. This is really great. We're chewing along. We'll get there.
Oh, we're almost about to hit 1,000 on Twitter. We're definitely picking up some steam.
Yeah,
and we did this within a year, which is amazing.
Yeah, it hasn't been a year yet. It's still within that 1 year thing, so we're good. We're heading out a good way.
All right.
We just appreciate that you guys enjoy us so much.
Of course. Go ahead.
I've been getting more DMs and private message of people like either on Telegram, on Twitter, saying that, man, I've been starting to listen to your show and I really like it. It speaks to me. And they point out some facts that were mentioned in some discussions, and you know, it's good. It's putting out a nice message. It's entertaining people, and it's spreading positivity. So I'm all about that.
I've gotten to the point where when I go to a VR chat world, even publicly in a furry world, is that I've had people recognize me like, wait, you're that guy from the podcast. So that's definitely an improvement. And I didn't expect it. Yeah, it was insane that now people are starting to pick up who we are, and it's great. And that means we're making progress to our goals, which I'm very happy for. But anyways, enough about us. This conversation is about you. And I want it to be mostly about you, Kreic. No, because you deserve the spotlight.
It's time for your spotlight. Shishing.
Terrible taste for your host to say I'm here. Didn't you have any other better options? Why?
Well, you're kind of the birthday boy. Like the spotlight is on you. But
exactly.
Tell us a bit. Tell us about you, Kreic. Who are you? What you do for a living? Where you're from? You know, the brief introduction about yourself.
Well, nice to see you all, or for you to see me. I'm Kreic. I live in Mexico. I am a 3D artist, and what else did you want me to say? Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I always get nervous when I do this kind of things. So bear with me for at least 15 minutes.
You're good.
He'll loosen up. He'll loosen up. I'll take care of it.
Hey, you take your time. You take your time explaining yourself. Just want to know who you are, just what you do. And how you do it.
It's okay, Kreic. At one point, me and Whiplash were you when we first started our thing.
Oh, God. You should have seen me in fiction at the first panel at FWA. We were like, fuck. I was too long with my sentences, and you were like short and sweet.
Too short.
Yeah. Okay, that's nervousness. That's fine. You're doing good. So, can I start with the questions and stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Kreic, for our first question, how did you get started with creating avatars on VR Chat? How did you begin?
Oh wow, that's a story. Well, I wanted to start making 3D art a long time ago, and back in the day, I wanted to become a Second Life modeler. But I mean, my level skill was none, honestly, none. So back in the day, I started learning 3D because I wanted to. I had this virtual voice. It's running. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well. It's a Vocaloid freeware version called Utau, and I made my own virtual vocalist. You can make it sing as a virtual instrument. And I started redesigning my persona. I made it in 3D, and I finished my career as an artist. And I wanted to start doing something. Like, how am I gonna live? So I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to make 3D furry art, adult oriented. That's the reason I wanted. That's what I wanted to do. It's weird, but it's what I wanted. And there weren't many 3D options out there at the time. So I opened myself to make 3D models and pose them. And back in the day, I still do. I could make some 3D viewers, because if you make a 3D model, usually you deliver a picture of a 3D model. And then why do you make a 3D model instead of drawing something? The beauty of a 3D model is you can use it over and over and from any angle, but a client cannot do that. So I discovered that back in the day it was Sketchfab, now I use Marmoset. You can create 3D interactives that you upload to the cloud, and people can see the 3D model from any angle, without them having to download the model, trying to learn a 3D software. So you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna deliver a render of a 3D model and a 3D interactive of the model. So that's what I was expecting to do. But then, one of my two first clients was this guy like, hey, do you make avatars for VR chat? Like, what? VR chat?
What the hell is that?
Yeah, I had the great luck that I counted with an Oculus and an Oculus Touch back in the day, and I had tried some social applications back then, and VR chat sounded lame. Really, really lame. Like, it's a chat for virtual reality. What am I gonna do? Like, there were 3D applications for that. You would be in a seat or in a table with random people with generic avatars, playing card games, maybe chess. So that's what I thought when I heard the VR chat. So, I mean, to the client, what he wants. So I had to make clothes. I had to make good quality rigging, which I didn't know how to make. I was supposed to only make post avatars. I mean, post models, and that was it. But I tried it, and after a while, I said, you know what? I would love to join VR chat and to see what it is about. And I already had this model, kind of incomplete. I only had the boots, and it had no pants, so I grabbed some old pants from an old model and stuck on my model and uploaded it as my avatar. So thankfully, my first VR chat experience was with my own avatar. We're talking 2017. So wow. I joined, and I contacted this person. And this person told me, oh, wow, you're in VR chat, let's meet up. I was like, okay. So I was nervous because I was still not used to what VR chat was. So I got an invitation, I joined the world, and it was a 3D bar. And in front of me was this character I had modeled playing pool. And then he looked straight at me. It was, hi, how are you doing? I was like, it was a real life person. Like, this character was not an NPC, was talking to me, was looking at me. And the worst part, he was waiting for an answer. And I speak Spanish as my main language, and I wasn't used to speaking in English. So I was like, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Oh, wow, that's so I gotta say that when you're saying, oh, I just had to slap some pants on, it is a lot more complicated than you think. You actually need to do armatures, rigging, weight painting. It's quite a task. Like, just slapping clothes on, not easy.
Yes.
I must say that your English definitely improved in the past few years. What did you learn? I'm just curious. Did you just learn from just talking to other people, or did you actually go to school for it?
Well, I was lucky enough to start learning English from a young age, but knowing English is not the same as being used to speaking it. It's different. You gotta get used to it. Like, what words to use, but you are out of touch, out of practice if you don't use it.
I'm kind of in the same situation as Kreic, because French for me is my mother tongue. I've learned English. And sometimes at the beginning, I was stumbling and trying to find words because I was doing live translation of myself. I would think in French and then speak in English. But after when you do it for a while, you start thinking in English and then the words come out easier. Sometimes it even goes to a level where you dream in English. That's another thing, but oh well.
I mean,
definitely learning another language is definitely difficult for anybody, especially when you're. It's one thing knowing what they're saying, but it's more difficult actually speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're trying to make a conversation. Yeah. Well, everybody's a little bit different when it comes to the language.
Well, for me, it was easier to understand. So for me, the easy part was understanding what the person was saying. It was responding back that was a bit difficult. Like, how do I structure my phrase? Because in French versus English, and it's a bit similar to Spanish, the verb and the noun are flipped in most cases. So you have to kind of think like Yoda in some sort of word. I'm okay, I'll stop talking. I'm doing it again.
Wow,
Yoda?
so to speak Spanish, you're gonna become like a Yoda. Tacos.
I speak like French.
Yeah.
Speak French, I will.
And I'm over here speaking one language, and you both.
Your baguette, I will. Ho, ho, ho.
Actually, Fiction, you speak. What's your other language? It's what?
I don't. It's my second language, but I haven't spoken it. I don't know. It's Italian. I've learned a little bit of that throughout the years.
I mean, hey, you know more than I do. I know some Spanish, just that's not enough to speak it properly. And you speak in English enough.
Spanish and Italian is not the same thing.
I mean, I've been speaking English since
Ciao,
I'm
amico
13
Lupo,
years old.
come
I was
stai?
playing Halo 3.
Hey,
Oh god, that's where you learned it from?
Non c'è male.
It's a good place to learn English words, isn't it?
All right, go eat pasta. No, I'm kidding. It's such a...
I mean, hey, pasta's good.
We're gonna confuse so many people with the language barriers. It's probably just get to English.
So
Alright.
back at the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Back to the
Oh,
story.
no, I was gonna say, continue.
Back in the day, the furry community in VR chat was really small, and they were like, wow, you're gonna be so happy. We know another wolf in VR chat. Like, wow, another wolf. I want to meet another wolf. So the next day, he goes and introduces me to his friends, like, hello, this is Kreic. He's the guy who made my avatar. And they were like, you made his avatar? How much do you charge? You take commissions? Make mine! And the rest is history. Honestly, if it wasn't for this person who commissioned me a VR chat avatar back when I was nobody, like, I had just started to become a 3D artist. Thanks to that person who believed in me, you know who you are, if you're watching this or listening this. Honestly, thanks a lot for that.
You can go tell them to go watch it.
Yeah, I will. I'll try
Sorry,
to
I had to relocate.
by not mentioning their name. But yeah, thanks to them, I started taking commissions, and after a while, it was kind of hard because I love taking commissions. I want to take another commission soon. Now that new Zeus is out, I
wanted to commission you. I tried. I really tried to get you to commission, but oh well.
I'm trying to see about opening another place for commissions because I love them. But the bad thing about commissions is that there's a lot of work for a 3D model that only goes for one person.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to open up my Patreon back in the day, so I could start making avatars that could be used by many. And then they started the brand, and then the store, and then the avatars were customizable, like you could create your own skin. And now, since the bear and Zeus model, you can customize the shape. I always feared I would have to make a character creator, and because it would be a lot of work, and it was, and now I have to do that. But it's worth it.
That's the next step, right?
I'm really happy it worked.
Well, speaking of your shop,
go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go.
I was gonna say, what inspired you to create the mods for your cyberware.com shop?
Come again?
What inspired you to create the models for your cyberware shop?
Oh boy! The first one was trying to make an avatar that could be used by many. back in the day, I was taking a diploma for motion capture, and I wanted to make a different model. So I asked, what would my persona have become if it hadn't been what I am right now? So I tried making something like a secondary persona, a visual experimentation about myself, and I wanted to be this big lion with the inspiration from many 2D artists I really admire. So the drones, they are based on my tentacles. They're a different version. So I already had that model, and I said, you know what? What if I try to adapt it to VR chat, and it becomes the first model I release? So that was the first one, and after that was, okay, what if I became a dragon? And after that, it started becoming more like, okay, what avatar can be the most usable for everyone? I research what kind of, for example, for Zeus, I research for many, many good artists that I admire, like, oh, their face looks like that, it looks so cool, their body looks like that, the anatomy, the paws, the hands, and I tried to get a combination or a gathering of all the things I liked of many artists and tried to represent it in one avatar. Zeus is a very special case because it has a lot of good karma from many, not only good artists, but it's based on real life personalities that are really loved. Actually, many of my avatars are based on people I like or things that are really emotional for me that I really cherished. So I try to give them a lot of soul because it's important.
I gotta say, what I really like about your avatars is that they fill the gap between realistic and toony, and it situates itself really perfectly in that gap, and that's what immediately got me drawn to your avatars. When I saw the Zeus model, I was like, this is it. This is the avatar that I want. And I've never used another avatar than this one. I gotta say something too. If people think like I don't get flustered about avatars and stuff, there is one avatar that will get me kind of and it's the Aesop bear model, which is one of my favorite bear models ever made. You've made incredible work on this one. It's good, and I love how customizable it is. It's very unique.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
This boy really loves bear bellies.
I'm totally not biased. It's totally clearly not.
You know what? Now I'm curious.
Avatar.
Now I'm just curious about one
bias.
thing. Now, I know this is kind of off topic, but I'm just curious. How do you see Santa Claus then? Are you?
Dude, he's a polar bear. He's obviously a polar bear. If you know anything about the bear community, Santa Claus is a polar bear. He's a polar bear that is all white.
I think he likes Santa Claus sometimes. Probably more than most people would.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, if he needs more cookies and milk, I'll provide.
What are you trying to?
I was kidding.
What are you trying to do there, Arcadad? Are you
That's
trying
gonna
to
backfire on me.
Are you trying to stuff his stockings full of coal, huh?
Ho, ho, ho! Sit on my lap, big boy. Let me tell me what you want for Christmas. Ho, ho, ho!
I'll sit on your lap
have
and I'm a top.
Stuffing for you. Oh my god.
Okay. I need to. Okay,
holy shit. Oh my god.
So, Kreic, I have a question.
Yes.
What is your background? I'm sorry. I'm trying to deflect this conversation clearly, because I know I'm
won't work.
Again. Yeah, shush.
Ho ho ho! The missile.
You're on my naughty list.
Hey,
we're all on Santa's naughty list. No, we're all on Santa's naughty list.
What you mean?
Actually, you know what? Maybe not fiction. Maybe fiction.
What are you talking about? I'm wholesome.
I'm
clearly look at him.
I mean, with the age, maybe.
Dude, I'm freaking wholesome. I'm not a sexual person. I'm very wholesome.
Okay, for sure. All three us three right here are wholesome without the W. We're wholesome without the W. Yeah. This one right here is wholesome with the W.
I like to balance.
He's the only one that gets the win.
The sexy things are fun, and then the funny things. I like to mix both.
Yeah. All right, but
Kreic,
go ahead with your question.
I was wondering, what is your background knowledge about 3D modeling? Did you go to university? Did you take any classes? Or everything was self-taught?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one. It's a bit of a long story. I'll try to summarize as much as I can. It all started back in 2009 when I was with my father and my best friend, and we went to something called EGS, Electronic Game Show, back in Mexico, and there was this person 3D modeling something, and I was flabbergasted. I was like seeing something become reality with the touch of your fingerprints or your fingertips. You will be able to create something. I was like, wow. And generally speaking, I drive myself through fevers. I see something, I get obsessed with it, I go full on with it, and I try to do something with it until I feel satisfied. So that was my first 3D fever. I was really, really obsessed with learning 3D. I wanted to become a 3D modeler. And I really thank a lot my parents that they were able to get me a license for 3ds Max, and I still have it in my room, that little box. Like, I was a child, I was a kid, and honestly, I opened the program. It was like, I don't understand anything. This is nothing like Paint.
That is not Paint, for sure.
Yeah, I messed around with it. I got to a certain point when I was able to make a cloth simulation, and that was it. I was too small. And back in high school, my second fever, I installed Ubuntu on my PC or on my laptop, and I saw there was this freeware 3D program called Blender. So I downloaded it and I started using it. It was really cool. I made a custom 3D desktop background, and that was it. That was my second fever. The third one, I studied at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. We call it ENAP or FAD, the Arts Faculty. And I wanted to become an ocarina maker, like a clay ocarina maker. I know how to make them.
Oh, really?
I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. But then I became a fan of Hatsune Miku, Virtual Vocalist. I made my own vocalist. I changed my persona to what it looks like right now. And I tried to make a 3D model to go with a virtual voice. And then I kept going, and I started modeling more. That was my third fever. It never faded away. So in the school I went to, it was a traditional school. They don't really know a lot. They try to keep updated, but they really know they really shine when it comes to traditional art techniques. I know how to create oil paintings. I know traditional guild-like art forms. And even though they didn't know a lot about virtual disciplines, they did their best to give me as many resources as they could in terms of theory and programs, at least trying to orient me where to go and trying to get me tutorials and online courses so I could study there. So even though it wasn't their strong point, they always supported me because I told them, well, I want to do this, and I took a lot of initiative, and I really tried to make something out of it. So thanks to them and me trying to learn by myself as well, because most of it as I have, it's that I got to learn how to do 3D.
Okay, that's really cool. Those fevers you're talking about, that is the perfect description of somebody that is passionate about something, and I can relate because I'm like that too. And sometimes my husband is like, you know, I still in your life, right? Like, I still exist. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just like so into this thing right now. It was like 3D printing, it was drone racing, it was a bunch of stuff like that.
You ever just got like into your hobby?
It's funny.
You ever just got so into your hobby that you kind of just forget the world around you?
Oh, dude, I'm so in my bubble. It freaked my husband out a few times. He's like, am I still like somewhere around? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, when I'm like listening to music and in my mind, I really miss my guitar and I just want to play it again. So I'm like,
yeah.
Like if I hear a 1980s rock band song and I'm just like, I'm lost in it again, and it's just weird that once you get focused like on that hobby of yours, you're the whole world around you doesn't exist. Especially when you're in
the whole world fades and you only focus on this thing. That's what passionate people do.
The same way with cars and the gym.
Yeah.
In your car, you're like troubleshooting, and like, dude, it's freaking 2 a.m. I've been at it for like 10 hours. You don't even see the time fly. You don't even eat. You don't go to the bathroom, anything.
It was me whenever I changed the valve covers on my G35. I worked from 8 o'clock to 5 in the afternoon. I was like, when did it get this late? I was just like, huh, okay, it's been 9 hours, and I just didn't realize that.
But isn't it
the same thing with me with music? It's just like if I play, I want my guitar back so badly so I can play again. But I miss playing cover songs, and I just want to have that headset on, listening to music and playing and jamming, and just forget. Forget your problems kind of thing, and this is something you love doing on the side, and that's great. And it's cool that you do that, Craig, and you actually do it for a living, which I thought it was pretty cool. You get to live something like you always wanted to do, and you love doing it. So I imagine it's still like a huge stress sometimes, having to fill out a lot of things and projects and all that stuff.
It could be, but the thing is, it's always worth it. I consider myself really, really lucky to be in this position, not because of, for many things, not only my parents who were always supportive of me, and if they are listening to this at some point, if they see me like this, I love you. Really, really thanks for always being so supportive. The people around me and the furry friends I have. The furry has been, almost all of the people I've met, they've been extremely kind to me. I consider myself really lucky to have met the people I have before I got in VR and after I got in VR. Look at these people. These are some fine animals over here. Look at this. Look at this.
Don't flatter us. We're just them both. And of course, we have don't forget the crew that makes it happen behind the scenes. So special thanks to Colton, Sakura, and the rest of the team for doing your part for Top Dogs. Without you guys, this would never happen. Especially, exactly. But and if it wasn't for Colton, he puts out the fires. So, things go bad, there's Colton.
Yeah, those hearts are very gay, but they're adorable. We love you too.
Yeah.
I mean, Colton's very gay. Also, I just realized what's funny is we three actually only use these avatars that we use every day.
I've never seen you use anything avatars. I got one avatar, and that is it.
I only have this one, the one that Andreas made for me, and someone else, another avatar someone made for me, and I use the Regulus like 98% of the time. It's like they fit our characters in some way.
You mentioned something about your family has been very supportive. Now, you told me a story once when you were working on the Zeus model that you didn't know where
I'm interested.
And it
you want to say it on your show?
Well, if you're able, so it has to be 13 plus, right? You're doing some research. You're trying to be. You said it. You want to be accurate up to a certain level, of course, because I don't know. You don't have to share.
Oh no, you're flustering, Craig.
Very awkward one.
Accuracy,
so
huh?
I was like, oh, dude, that's funny.
Okay.
What's the accuracy?
I would be more than happy
I'm really sorry to put you
to.
on the spot.
No, I would love to. It's a story I always say when I get drunk.
That was it. That was it. You were drunk when you told me that. You were having a good time. It's a Friday. It's fine. It's responsible.
Okay,
It's fine.
I'll try to keep it as friendly as possible, but of course, we're talking about a topic that is not. So, okay, I'll do my best and to keep it short.
It does not define you as a person. Just let make this clear. It does not define you as a person.
I mean, that's what you can see in my avatars. My avatars, I try to always. Because an avatar is about identity. And us as humans, we are sexual beings. Even if we are asexual, that's also part of us. And people Avatar, that's what an avatar is about. So someone can actually be themselves in the full extent. That is not the full purpose of my avatars. I try to make them beautiful as they are. It's just that I don't shy away from that part because that's part of someone being complete. But okay, speaking of things that makes us complete, boy. Yes,
I mean, you can't be born like a Ken doll.
And my parents are really, really. I mean, it was hard at first because, I mean, we all had our process, but thanks to communication, understanding, and love, mutual love, we got to the point in which they know everything I do, absolutely everything. And they told me that as long as I am someone making money in an honest way, and I do what I love, and I'm happy, and I'm able to live with dignity, they are happy for me. So, back in the day, back when I lived with my parents, I was working on one of my first commissions, and it was this huge wolf. Like, huge wolf. And I was working on the clothesless version. And let's say I was working on a part that was red by nature, and its size was, if it was in real life, that person would be would pass out if they got aroused. So that thing was like insecure furry being like, you know, the size. It's bigger than my whole arm. Okay. So I hear the knock on the door. I was like, minimize everything. Comes my father. Hey son, what are you doing? Oh, not much, father. I am just working. Oh, that's very nice. May I see? Well, you see, father, right now I'm working on a different thing that I don't think it would be quite enjoyable by you. Oh, it's okay. Show me. I mean, I would like to see it. Yeah, the thing is, it's a bit like on the adult side. And I don't have problem with showing you, but the thing is, like, I don't think you would like it. It's okay, son. Show me. No, that what I'm working on is really, really explicit. And he was like, I understand, son, but that's part of what the things you like, and I'm really happy that you are able to share with me the things you do. So I understand that's part of the things you do. I would like to be a part of it. But okay.
There's so many things going through my mind.
This is what the client wanted. That's not me. That's what the client wants. Okay, just to let you know.
Yeah. But then it comes to my mind. I have another save file in which I have the model with clothes. So I could open it instead. My body wasn't so quick to catch on. The next thing I do is that big red thing in taking all of my screen with my dad behind me, looking at it. I was like, okay, zoom out, and then zoom in on the face. So this is the model, and this is how how the client wants it. And you can see that this is a texture map. The texture is something that gives the model more detail, even though it has not many few polygons. And this is a glossiness map that makes it look glossy. And the normal maps make it look like it has bumpiness. Did I mention I'm getting paid for this? His reaction was, that looks complicated, son. And then he goes,
that's it.
Bye. Just bye.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk away now.
You could also call it, instead of calling it something red, you can also call it a tamale.
Yes,
call it a giant ketchup bottle.
It's called a NASA spaceship.
The story is known as the red tamale story.
Yeah, that's a good red tamale.
Really?
Right there.
Yes.
Who won one? And honestly, tamales are delicious, by the way. Tamales are very delicious.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Tamales are love.
Tamales are
look
life.
it up what that is because it sounds good. So, Kreic, for the next question, what tips and advice would you give someone who's trying to create their own avatars?
Wow. Well, someone who was...
Like, somebody wants to start making their own avatars. What advice would you give to them? Because you went through that whole learning process, learning Blender, 3ds Max, and Photoshop, and all these softwares that allow you to fully build an avatar. So my question is, what advice would you give to people that wants to start this endeavor of creating an avatar of their own, which I've actually thought about doing, actually.
Or you could just say, what are some baby steps like you could do first, like beginner's guide, before you get into the complicated structure of the whole thing?
Yeah, just something simple.
The most important thing is to try to set realistic goals, because if you want to make the fully detailed PVR avatar, that's something that's fully realistic, and you don't have a lot of experience in 3D, it's very likely that you will get frustrated and you will leave it. And honestly, if we're talking about you creating your own avatar, we want you to finish it so you can show it off to others. So start with something toony, perhaps, something a bit not as detailed, something you can be happy with. The important thing is not to create the final result right away, but to start doing something that gets better the next time you make it. Because a 3D modeling is not something that's done overnight. And don't be Blender right now, which I assume would be your program to use, Blender 3D, has a lot of people willing to help, a lot of tutorials. The community is huge. There's a lot of people willing to help you create your avatar. And if you want, you can try making everything yourself. Modeling, texturing, giving the avatar any color, rigging, and configuring it, giving the shape keys, or maybe no shape keys, or blank shapes for speaking. Just have in mind, even professionals don't do everything themselves. Some people do, yes. I try to, yes, because I want to know every single part of it. But there are a lot of 3D modelers that make avatars, and they have their avatar technician that rigs the model, that configures it, and what they do is they sculpt. So there are many different processes, and it might be intimidating. Try to pace yourself and trying to learn the ropes. Try to be patient, because 3D is technical as hell. It has a lot of technical points. Try to be patient. It's gonna take a while because it's not like a 2D software. When I started, was like, what is a material and why does it matter? What is UVs? How do I do that? Why did I click this and now this happened and now I don't know how to undo it? Yeah, that's gonna be an everyday thing. 90% of my first avatar's work was trying to figure out what went wrong and how to undo a button I pressed that I didn't know what happened. So ask around, try to learn the ropes about the 3D software, because the 3D software getting wonky, that's gonna be an adventure. But it's an adventure. It's a cool adventure. I think about it dearly.
Okay.
I would like to add to that, actually. So I've actually done a lot of work on my avatar. If you guys don't know, this Zeus model has been very heavily modified. It actually features parts like this is the main from the Marcus, which is the feline model. And I gotta say, the endeavor of making a fully custom avatar of your own is a huge endeavor. And if you look at the tip of that mountain, you'll never get it through. So like Kreic said, set up baby steps. Give you small little goals and, celebrate those small goals. Like start by making a shape, then start building an armature or skeleton. Start with something easy and learn the software first. Blender is one of the most commonly used software. It's free. It is very powerful. It has bugs, like Craig's mentioned. This is why you must create multiple save points. My avatar has over 400 save points in it. Because in case I click a button, like he said, and I need to go back to it, I can go through those save points and I name the progress that I've done on them. So do that. I'm going to mention something, but learning Blender is a very complicated software. If you want to start doing avatar modifications or creating an avatar of your own or creating props, I recommend the donut tutorial by the Blender Guru. It's a joke. It's an inside joke inside the Blender community, but it does really work. This is how I learned how to use Blender, and I've gotten really good at it. It is frustrating, but when you get comfortable with it, it becomes the most powerful tool you can own, because any idea you have in your mind, you can create it digitally and make those props and stuff. And a lot of stuff that I made myself was all done through Blender. So yeah, baby steps, and there's tutorials out there. There's a community that will help you out.
One of the things I was very impressed with when it came to your model was the details with the fur. I've never seen anybody do that, and I thought that was very impressive. And I would imagine that was very hard to do and to get that right.
So there's two ways you make fur. So there's somebody called Warren who came out with the Warren Fur Shader, which is a way to create realistic fur by taking pixel and reproducing them and sticking them out. That is a very easy way that anybody can do it within an hour or two to create realistic fur. But it has some caveats. It's a bit more setup and stuff. Making realistic fur textures themselves, that's a whole other endeavor. You can actually sculpt it and actually bake the high version of the sculpt into a UV normal map and texture map, which Kreic can talk about more about this. Or you can use Substance Painter and use a fur brush, but I was not able to do that. I actually commissioned somebody to re-UV my avatar and redo that fur. But it's fun to have a realistic fur. I didn't want to have a 2D look at all. I wanted something more realistic. I think it's pretty pretty badass. I kind of like that. Kreic's texture that comes with his models all have that kind of a high detail texture without actually being a high poly model, which is really cool.
Oh,
so,
thank you. Also, I just remembered, I think there is one tip I could give anyone who wanted to make their own avatar, and I think that's the most important thing that piece of advice I could give you. Start with a base. The best way to learn the ropes of a 3D software is to have an avatar base you could build on. You can try modifying it, and eventually you will be confident enough with 3D software to start making your own from scratch. But at least you will know how to start, and it will be way less intimidating. And if you already have a modified avatar base, that means you will already have an avatar. You will already have a result, and you will not have to wait all the time until you finish your avatar, because you will now have your own avatar from a base. And sorry, I'm repeating myself. Use a base. A base is a great way to learn the ropes of 3D and having a quick result of good quality while you make your own of your own things.
That's exactly what I did. Find yourself an avatar that you like and start modifying. Change body proportions, add props, change things here and there. Go with that. And once you get really comfortable about all this, then the idea of tackling a whole project of creating an avatar will be a lot more feasible or doable.
Okay. Hey, Kreic, so there is a couple of list questions that I gotten from our Supporter Plus community. So I'm gonna hit you with a question that takes some time to think about. So listen carefully, okay? So, this is a question from Indy, and he asks, if the opportunity arises from the furry community as a whole to be looked upon more favorably by merging into the mainstream hobbies like being alongside cosplaying, would you want that for our community as a whole? If so, why or why not?
Oh, wow. You had to ask that, really. Mm-hmm. That is a very complicated question. Because on one side, I really like the fact that furries are better known. They have become more known, and they have been better seen now than before. Now a lot of people I know about furries, I can tell them about what a furry is, and they will not be judgmental. They will be cool about it. But at the same time, I think it's also important to remain free within the fandom. The fandom came as a lot of people that wanted to be themselves, and I have to say it, the normalcy in which we see adult content within the fandom, even though we do not represent ourselves with it as a community, like it being our flagship thing, and we don't show it to people who shouldn't see that, it's still a prominent part that is present among the members. And I think that has protected us from appropriation by the industries. So that has allowed us to generate our own economic ecosystem, our own industries surging from the community, for the community, among the community. There's a lot of there's a whole thing in which people, like, even the most traditional thing within the fandom is, I create art of my character and I create art of your character, you create art of my character, and we buy art between each other. That's a thing, that's a very beautiful thing that's really hard to find somewhere else, and it's evolved to a really big thing to the point in which it's part, like, if there is any tradition in the fandom, is that art. Everyone is welcome to start their own art career in the fandom, and most people will be more than welcoming for that. I love to see anyone drawing their own persona or making their own avatars. Like, I see, from an avatar maker to another, like, it's cool, because we are not like, I am an artist, you are a peasant. No, it's like, hey, cool, you're starting, let's do it together. And that's, even though there are exceptions, that is the status, that's the general rule in the furry fandom. We are generating our own community, and since we were isolated from the world due to the taboo, we were able to have the opportunity to become a community, to strengthen ourselves as a community and as economy. And now we are in a place in which the furry fandom has become, in a certain way, independent or self-sufficient, autonomous, in order to create our own industries, which have very nice origins because it's from the community. So I would wish that the furry would become better known, as long as that doesn't remove the freedom we have to express ourselves. And that is a very complicated thing. The best thing I can do is through my art. I try to be something that is beautiful, to make something that is beautiful by itself, but it's very clear that it has its adult side. I will not hide it, and I will make it clear that it's not my top priority, but it's part of who I am. It's part of being human. Furry is made by people who are humans, and as humans, we can't deny what makes us human. I would say, I'm not sure if that answers the question, but
I've been interviewed on TV and, like, concerning the fursuits and stuff, and they're like, so does furry have sex with their fursuit or not? I'm like, what I like to tell people, it's the same thing with avatars. It's like, yes, we have avatars, and we also have a sexuality as well. They're two separate spheres. Owning an avatar or fursuit, having, like, a sexuality, and sometimes these circles can overlap, but they're not based off of that.
Yes,
I would say the people who don't really understand something treat something so tabooish, even though they do something similar to what we do. We're not so different. It's just we express it differently. You're just not as open about it.
To talk about it. We're open to talk about it. They are more reserved on
and
that.
that's the problem.
It feels like we're more sexual, but actually we're just as equal as everybody. It's taboo, and society doesn't allow you to talk about that stuff, or you're not to talk about your wage, how much you make per hour to your colleagues, which I think we should be very open about it, because we'll find a lot of injustices in salaries.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hot takes I would take is that there are starting to be furries that want the furry fandom to be pure, and that's not how it became to be. The furry, I think furries shouldn't go back to the closet. And
it's a very gray area.
I mean, as long as you're not hurting anyone, because morally bad things, they're a whole different thing. But if you're not hurting anyone, and you're being respectful to each other, we should try to strive for a community in which we can talk between ourselves and treat each other with respect, even if we don't agree with some things. The furry fandom needs to learn how to deal with people thinking in different ways in a respectful manner.
It's all a matter of respect, basically.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, Game is right. We're just more open about what we do versus a lot of other people.
Yeah.
I would say we're not any different. I wouldn't say we're just as different. Yeah, I wouldn't say we're different from them either, but I wouldn't say we're different from the weebs either. They're just
they got their stuff. And the cosplay area has their stuff going on too. I know because I'm in it.
I like how the weebs have their own thing. Don't say that, and I can hear them in the background.
The weebs have their own thing, alright? We don't want to get started on that.
But I'll say this, I love the community. In the vast majority, it's
angry.
Wonderful people.
He's not angry.
Oh, absolutely. No, when he's just shaking his head over there being happy.
I mean, he would know he was in the weeb community.
Yeah, I'm sure he sees what's behind those doors like we see behind the furry doors.
I have friends on VR chat that are in the weeb community, and we get along fine.
Yeah,
those are
a weeb event, and nobody shamed me or anything. They were super chill about it. Either they didn't say anything, or they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "I'm going well. How about you?"
Those are open-minded individuals, which are good.
But you guys will never understand.
We tribe have good relations.
It's the closed-minded ones that think that we're doing other things besides just trying to have fun.
Yeah, and that's the Call of Duty community. But anyways.
Oh god, not the Call of Duty community.
Yeah. So
okay,
anyways,
let's not get into that. It's been okay. Go ahead, Fiction. Say what you got to say.
Yeah.
Oh
so what I need to say. Anyways, if you enjoyed our video, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel on Top Dogs. If you want to be notified with our latest videos, hit the bell to be notified for the next video. So to keep in touch on that. Also, in the description, there is a link tree, and that link tree can lead to our Telegram chat, which also you can lead to our Discord server. All the links are in there, so if you want to join our community, that would be awesome as well. And don't forget to also follow us on our audio platforms from Amazon Music to Spotify, etc. And if you don't, Whiplash is probably going to, let's just say, bong you your model in the head. I don't know.
Oh no.
I'm running out. I'm running out.
Talking about the Call of Duty community. Talking about the Call of Duty community. If you don't do any of that Fiction said, I'm a teabag you. I'm a teabag you. I'm a teabag you.
Oh my god.
Careful, some people might be into that.
Yeah, they probably are.
That's the thing. Yeah, please.
All right, no teabagging for you. I know you want to.
I think the teabag. I feel like the teabagging thing was from the Halo community. So.
I mean, hey. I'm just saying.
I mean, 3 community. Hell yeah.
It started on Halo 3, but hey, I'm just saying in Modern Warfare 2 and War to War, teabagging was the rage. Lipton tea was in business.
Oh man, I was struggling at that game. Anyways. So, calling out to all of our Top Dogs fans, you want some cool stuff? You can by subscribing to our server subscription on Discord. Become a podcast supporter today. Get exclusive raw and uncut footage of your favorite podcast episodes, join supporter meetups, and talk with the other podcast supporters and the team. Plus, you get a custom paw emoji and other goodies that come with their $2.99 a month subscription. But wait, there's more. Upgrade to the Podcast Supporter Plus, and you get episode voting, supporter feedback, and live audience participation for only $5.99 a month. Plus, you get sneak peeks of upcoming ideas, merchandising, and more. You don't have to join the subscription, but it does help us out it helps out a lot. Thank you so much.
We much appreciate.
You get to hear me. Everything is appreciated, and if you do, you get to hear me in stream say
Yeah, we can say F word.
Yes, you can say.
It's okay.
You gotta watch this boy with some soap in his mouth. I swear, he got a dirty mouth.
Yeah.
But then again, he is from Florida.
An entire sewage system.
People in Patreon get access to the uncensored versions.
But we do have another thing that I needed to say.
Wait, what?
which was the question I have a question of the week to answer, which was, have you ever done avatar modifications? If so, at what extent? And this is a question to our community members, which Indy already answered that question, and he said this. I haven't done much. I just found a model on FurHub and used some of its toggles, and that's how I got around VR sometimes, and that's what his answers was. We also thank Indy for answering this question for us. That is much appreciated. And then back to the questions. I got one more question for Kreic, and I wouldn't even know how to answer this question. This is another question from our community that I feel bad for that you're getting the spotlight for this question. So Green asked, do you think the furry community should welcome kids or be strictly 18 plus?
Ooh, that's a
really hard one.
I know. He put you on the spotlight for that one.
So, I don't think the furry community is different from the general internet culture. Because in general speaking, if you have access to the internet, you have access to adult materials. And it's really hard to keep kids from watching it. So instead of the furry community or the furry fandom being for kids, it will be more like, I don't know, internet access, social media access. If there is a way in which the furry community or the furry fandom could be applied or opened to underage people, it would have to be in a way in which it cannot interact with the more complete experience. For now, I don't know the answer because it's too complicated. And there are many good points or bad that we would have to discuss them more in depth. As I know right now, my art and my content, the things I do, my career as an artist, it's adult only. Not because I want it to be all sex and all that, but also in terms of maturity, perspective in life, and in many other things that the furry fandom might be approached in a healthier manner through adult eyes.
There's a lot of different ways to answer that, but that's a good way.
I feel like that's not a simple answer. It's not a simple...
It is not. It is not.
Because
I feel like
it's hard to answer that question.
I feel like everybody... Go ahead.
You go.
I talked a lot. Go ahead.
I'm just... When it comes to, people of all ages will join furry fandom no matter how old they are. It's just when it comes to minors, there is a different perspective on it, and obviously we all know that one side of the furry fandom, which almost everyone knows at this point, that they need to be kept from, that they need to keep their innocence until they reach that point in their life where they can actually do that and actually interact with it. I feel like if there is someone who is underage, their age should be known first. Because, I've dealt this. I have too many people lie to me about their ages, and it's, annoying. But from what they tell me afterwards is they want to be treated like an adult, or treated like a person. Because they think if they're not, if they don't have, if they don't make people believe that they're, have, an adult mentality, that they'll be treated like a child. Which, in ways, yes and no. There's the reasons why people are uncomfortable around minors is because of that side we have as furries. And honestly, especially on VR chat, that is very well known. You have to agree, right, Stree?
Yeah. Well, my take.
It's not just the furries that deal with this; it's also other communities that deal with. I think it's just a VR chat problem in general.
It is. It's just too easy.
Speaking, people are people.
Yeah. I think the whole dilemma about having kids in the furry fandom. I think one something that is really cool about the furry fandom is that we accept anyone, and our life struggle can happen anytime in our life. I had depression when I was 13, and having a community where I can go to and have conversations and stuff is really cool. The thing is, the furry fandom is most of these people are adults, 18 plus, and of course, I mentioned the sexual aspect of thing, it's going to collide. So I think if we're going to have kids in the furry fandom, I think they need to be properly educated, being put aware of what is out there, and I think their responsibility is to be honest with their age. And honestly, every time I've met somebody and I've asked them, because I wanted to be like, I'm a nudist in real life. I like to be naked with my avatar without the boner, just being, a normal nudist person. But if I know that there's somebody that is underage, I'm not going to do that, of course, because I don't want to be in troubles. And I prefer older men than myself, honestly. So that's another issue. But every time I had somebody that were honest about their age, I was like, you know what? I'll adjust my behavior. The fact that you're being honest and you're not lying to somebody and putting somebody like you said, Whiplash, you had somebody lie to you, it puts you in a weird situation. Something that is awkward. Nobody wants to deal with that. So you'd rather be honest right now, or else we find out and you kind of get like shadow banned from the community. Just be honest, and I'm going to be very respectful for people that are honest. I will respect the law, obviously, because I'm not even... Yeah, I don't even have to justify this, but anyways... That's why I tell all my friends, put your age in your bio in VR chat, so that I don't have to go through everybody's menu every time I want to be like comfortable with myself and be like, oh, there's an underage person here, I can't do it. Same
here.
I think it's easier. It's just simpler like that. It avoids situations.
It is.
I would prefer if everything was 18 plus, but we can't deny the youth that is coming over.
Do I sound like a kid to you? I behave like one.
No, you don't, big boy.
Hell no.
But you would be surprised.
My thing is,
I've heard some kids that were like, dude, seriously.
Oh no.
That was me when I was younger.
If it wasn't, I will say that if it isn't because of the next generation that comes within the community, we wouldn't necessarily be a community anymore. It's because we have to rely on the next generations to keep it alive.
COVID, that's what happened.
I'm gonna be honest.
So
it's... Sorry, go ahead.
Goes back to proper education and teaching. So when a kid comes up to me, tells me his age, I give him like a little formal training and explain things and how things could go wrong if they're not honest about things. So go ahead, Kreic. Sorry.
I'm gonna be honest, that part of education really resonates with me, because I discovered the fandom while I was having my sexual awakening. And people will find things when they're curious. So being responsible about the education we give to people, so they don't, well, to younger people, so they don't get taken advantage of, is the most important thing. Respect, honesty, and education. They're really important.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's what I do every time I meet somebody that's underage. Educate.
Yeah.
Exactly, and as I tell, especially minors, like, if you have your age in your bio, that's much respect from me, because, I'm very much appreciative of you actually wanting to tell people your age, because I will act like a normal person around you, not like my other self, like a stream is like around adults, and so I will treat you like a person that you want to be. You want to be treated like a normal person, not just treated like a minor that you are, or a child. You just want to be treated like a normal person, which I'm happy to, oblige by that. Because there are minors that I do hang out with, and I treat them just like a normal person. Like, because they want to hang out with people too. And, in the furry fandom, the age, range varies from, very young to very old, which is from 10 to 60s or 70s, which I know everyone between that range. It's so wide, the age group in furries, furry fandom. But I mean, I just have respect for people who put their age in their bios. I've dealt with the lies too much, and there's just a lot of repercussions when it comes to lies. I just dealt with one this past week. And now he's shadow banned from he's not shadow banned, but he's getting spread across the Discord servers and furry VR chat because of what happened.
I hope that never happens to me.
I've dealt with it too much. I've lost trust in people, honestly, now. Like, the people, unless I talk with, like, everyone here.
Oh, I wanted to ask.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
What do you want to ask?
We don't have a lot of time left. Just to let you know.
So
We
yeah,
have one
what
more
kind of
for you.
question?
It's gonna be a very short. It's gonna be a very short activity. So we get bleeped if we say something lewd or something like a curse word, right?
It depends on how much you use it in one sentence, because that's gonna be hard for Colton to bleep out.
Hey,
May I
Colton,
get 2
can we,
please?
Did
can
you
we
send
even
him
talk
an
about
audio
thing
clip
for
of
him?
what you want for your bleep sound? He'll put it.
Yes. But it's during a phrase. when if I raise the finger, it would be for that word, like a bleep for that word. One day I was seeing my boyfriend washing the dishes on the sink, so I took the chance and I him from behind. But then I turned him around, I kneeled down, I grabbed his and I gave it a little kiss.
Aww.
Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we do that?
That's adorable.
Oh.
Yeah, Colton says yes. So, Craig, what you can do is send me the audio or send it to Colton. He'll put it in there.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay,
I
so-
had to do it. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's cute. I like it.
is cute.
So we got one
I can
last
ask him one more
question,
question.
before we end the show. Yeah,
I will ask him the last question.
I would do number 8. Number 8 would make a lot of sense to close it off.
Oh, that's actually what I was gonna go for.
Nice. It was so sick, bro.
Ask.
Yes. Okay, so I want you to be. I don't know how things are set up in your website. So you don't necessarily have to disclose information that you do not necessarily can answer. That's just fine, but answer things to the best of your ability. So, what kind of future plans do you have for Cyberware Shop?
Cyberware Shop. Okay. Well, first I need to finish all the updates to 3.0, which are long overdue. I am looking into releasing more outfits for the avatars I already have. And there are some collaborations in mind that I won't say yet. They have to do with, well, you'll see. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I want to work on a new avatar soon because, I mean, I need to work in something new, please. Too much updates, too many updates. So yeah, I want to make a new avatar. I want to start making clothes for avatars. And I want to start making collaborations with some brands.
We might have something, because I actually was talking about it. But we'll discuss it after the recording.
Yes.
That'll make sense. I'll tell you what I'm about to do. But do you want to add any further, question? You want to add more to the question? Like, do you want to get more specific without revealing too much? Or you think that's
no? Actually, it's fine. But I would like to give a personal comment, Craig. When I first hopped into VR and I started playing on the Oculus Rift, the first model I was introduced to by my friend was your Raging, damn it, I forgot the name of the freaking.
Was it the default model at the Fur Hub that you were looking at?
Yeah.
Which species was it?
The pizza, the cheese slice head. What are they called? They keep making Reagan, yeah. The Circle. There you go. Sorry. So the Circle, and I was really impressed by it, and I gotta say that I was really honored the first time I was actually able to meet you. My friend was like, "Hey, I know Kreic, he's online. Do you want to meet him?" I'm like, "Yes, I love his work and everything you do." And I still remember the first time I met you. It was the original Fur Hub, and I was astonished. I was impressed on how approachable you are. You can have conversation with anyone. You're not one of those popular furries that think that they're better than everyone. You're very humble as a person. You talk to everyone. Everybody gets treated equally. You don't want to be put on a pedestal for what you do. You just appreciate what you do. And you've been my role model ever since since I started gaining more popularity with Twitter and the Top Dogs and my TikTok channel, I've always been thinking about you, how you act with people, how humble you are, and you don't forget where you come from. You know exactly where you come from, and you treat everybody with respect. And I praise that from you. That I think it's something that you're really amazing for, and thank you for being such an amazing person.
Thank you, and may I say something about it? I know there might be some people that don't agree with that, and that's because I am an introvert, and I get a lot of social anxiety when it comes, and I forget about replying to texts, and sometimes I don't see texts, sometimes I forget to reply, and there's a lot of people that have talked to me, and I forget to reply, or I take a long time. And I would like to say that I am sorry, because sometimes I forget, I'm forgetful, or I get anxiety, and I take a lot of, or sometimes I don't reply at all. It's not anything personal. It's not on purpose. And I am sorry if at any point I have made anyone feel bad because of my bad text habits. And I promise I'll do my best to improve that.
Well, I know you're very busy. You have a lot of stuff going on, and I'm starting to feel that, that weight of having a lot of messages people sending to you. Like, you want to reply to all of them, but at one point, it almost becomes a full-time job. And how can you work on content? How can you work on avatars when you're replying to people all the time? So you got to filter out, and, but that's why I tell people, like, if I'm on VR chat and you see me on, feel free to join me. I'll talk to you. They're reachable. It's just text message is more difficult for me. I just lack the time for it. Not that I don't want to.
Thank you. And thanks for everyone who's had the patience with me. And of course, with Top Dogs and all the Top Dogs crew to having considered me to be in this program. It's a true honor. Thank you.
We're just lucky to have you on the show.
Yeah, we're happy to have you in here. Oh, well.
Uh-oh.
Well, what are you changing it? What the hell are you changing it to? You?
He's at 10% for me. My internet is kind of slow for now.
What do you change?
He changed it to himself.
30%.
Whiplash section. Whiplash section.
Whiplash session. But anyways, that concludes today's episode. Don't mind Whiplash changing into his outfits. But anyways, we'll see you guys next week. And then again, and also again, thank you, Kreic, for joining our show. Even though it was just out of nowhere, Whiplash just changes into doing this.
I'm about to see it. Now I see him. Okay. Took a while. Man, that hairstyle though.
So you guys next week on Top Dogs.
Thanks everyone. That's a wonderful night or day.
Good night, everyone.